No.
Right.
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good? Then it would have been a problem. But somehow I charmed him enough. I relaxed him enough. And he did the thing. I think people seem to like that.
It was a great interview.
So, Cleveland, how Jewy were you in Cleveland?
I didn't know how Jew I was until I went to college. Because
But like you grew up, like you're 36. How old's your brother?
About to be 39.
So you have the exact same distance between you two as me and my brother. Maybe that has something to do with why we get along. Yeah. My brother's 2.5 years younger than me.
Interesting, because my brother and I guess we get along fine now, but we didn't get along.
Really?
No.
Why is he? What's the primary difference? Is it tastes?
I'm feeling myself do something that I don't want to be, but I don't know.
Don't be mean.
No. I don't know how much I feel comfortable
talking about that.
Oh, not because it's secretive, but because it's a longer conversation, and I don't want to paint anybody in a picture that's negative because I remember things the way I remember them, but I also, looking back, understand my perspective as a kid isn't necessarily taking into consideration of his perspective. But I could just, in a simple way, I could just tell you from my feelings as a kid, I was, I'm definitely being defensive here.
That's right.
It's a big brother, little brother thing, but I was scared a lot and bullied, and
by him.
The fear comes from part of that, but still do, but I had some very serious OCD as a kid. Yeah. Not just in my rituals, but also in the things that felt still today logical, of just keeping things a certain way. And
sure.
And share, basically he was a cat on my countertops.
Right.
And my whole life was a countertop.
He was chaos.
He was chaos, and
you were cleanup.
Yeah, I took on that role, I guess. He's a brilliant. He truly is. I know people say that about their family, but maybe I have a bias. I think he's the smartest person I've ever met.
Oh yeah, was he in the business?
No, he has restaurants.
In
kind of not right now. No, here, and he is a. I don't know. Have you ever been to the Greyhound?
Over in Highland Park.
There's Highland Park in Glendale, and
I remember when they opened that. That's your guy.
That's my
your brother.
Yeah,
pizza.
Yeah, they do pizza, burgers.
Right, burgers,
cornbread.
It's just I remember cornbread.
My father was in the restaurant business growing up, and
no kidding. I like cornbread.
This is the best cornbread. It's my I want to brag. My dad used to do rib cook-offs and cornbread, and Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas and Lambier, they all came and loved his cornbread. Was your dad
a well-known pit master?
What's a pit master? Oh, no. A pit master is like a barbecue pit, right? Were there pit masters back in the...
I mean, I think that's just a name for a guy that uses a barbecue like I have. Like a smoker. Did he have a smoker?
Yeah. It was a sports bar and grill. It was a big barbecue
smoker?
joint.
So he had a real barbecue joint. So
Ribs and cornbread.
Ribs and cornbread.
Yeah.
So I think... theoretically, you could be a pit master if you're legit doing ribs.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, he's more than a pit master. We'll be right back with a word from our sponsor. Then we'll put in Marshall Rug commercial here.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Marshall Rugs in Cleveland?
Yeah.
If you're looking for just the right flooring, you need choices. At Marshall Carpet One, you'll find thousands of choices, including carpet, hardwood, rugs, and luxury vinyl. So make the right choice and visit Marshall Carpet One and Rug Gallery. And we promise, with more than 50 years as a family-owned business, we've got you covered.
My brother's younger, but he was a jock and I wasn't. And his whole life was about tennis. Like literally, his entire childhood was about tennis. And him and I were so different in behavior. But now we're like so alike, it's painful.
Why would painful? That's just as a figure of speech. You say that.
Well,
right?
Just like, no, I mean, it's like if you can feel each other that deeply, like I know when he's going through something, like I can hear it. Like that's the weird thing about growing up in a family without boundaries is that you kind of get a sense pretty quickly. That's
a great way of explaining growing up in a middle-ish. I think I'm more upper middle. I don't want to lie to you.
Yeah.
Class Jewish family. It's a lack of boundaries.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, by the way.
No,
I think it's great.
It's your show. You think the lack of boundaries is great?
I think growing up in a place, I think it's a fine line. I would equate it to getting antibodies.
Interesting. Okay, I'll talk you through that. But it seemed like though your parents are loud.
My mom is loud, but my mom is loud in a way where it works because she's so kind to where it's
loud kind.
I've gotten better over the years.
Yeah.
I came into some pretty big self-awareness almost 4 years ago now, but my loudness was very attention-seeking and aggressive without knowing it. And my mom's loud is just wanting to help people, and maybe they need to hear me.
Yeah.
So the boundary issue was my mom was loud, but everyone loved her, including everyone in the family. And
your dad?
My dad is, he sold cornbread in his tells jokes under his breath.
All right, but what's his boundarylessness look like?
The boundaryless is more, I guess it's my mom.
So she, everyone had to react to her.
I'm figuring this out with you. So could I change and add to my answer?
Yeah.
Let me collect myself. We'll be right back.
That's against the rules. Yeah, I'll bend the rules this time.
Thank you.
You can change and add to your answer now.
Because I'm trying to define something when I really only could know it through my eyes from then. So just trying to think of that as my brother would be. I am the way I am, and things needs to be a certain way and clean. And my brother would be. He played sports and he's outside in the mud, ironically enough, getting some antibodies, and he would find a Mike and Ike in the dirt and eat it to get a laugh. Right. And he would come in and he'd have some dirt under the fingernails. He's a boy. He plays. He get dirty.
Yeah, sure. Eat Mike and Ike's out of the dirt, sure. Or maybe a Razzle or a Skittle. But it was a Mike and Ike.
It was a Mike and Ike. Okay. It was one of the two, at least.
Sure.
And we would have M&Ms on the counter as like decorative, but people, you eat M&Ms. And my brother liked the way... Yes. Yeah. My brother would like the way M&Ms feel going between his fingers. Sure. Because, listen.
Feels good.
Yeah, it's like a waterfall.
Sure, something.
But they're not his waterfalls. Well. So my brother's got dirt in his fingers. He's touching all the M&Ms. He's eating out of the cereal. He's eating on the chips.
Out of the cereal, too?
Yeah, cereal boxes.
And digging for the prize, I bet.
I guess.
Okay.
I wasn't one who needed the prize.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry if that was a joke you were making.
No one needs the prize, but you want to get it out.
I want to have cereal that doesn't have dirt in it. So I'm now sitting on the couch feeling like I'm forced to keep inventory and watch, and I started to only eat the cereals that my brother didn't like. Right. And I felt like I didn't have control over the things I wanted because I was limited. While I was building this resentment of watching my brother, and I don't want to say bad stuff. He's a kid. He's a little boy.
No,
but
it's brother stuff. It's fine.
We share a bathroom. Yeah. Pisses on the towels.
Sure. He pissed on the towels?
The cat pissed on the towels if he left the towel down.
Oh, the cat pissed on the towels. But your brother probably just pissed on the rim of the toilet, mostly.
If he even hit the toilet. But I got to tell you something. He's changed. You got to check out the Greyhound. It really is delicious and clean. Yeah, I don't know why I'm uncomfortable about this. It feels like I'm talking. I am. I'm literally talking about someone.
But I like the idea. The idea that you brought up about growing up in a boundaryless home gives you antibodies to what?
I'll tell you what.
I mean, I like the idea, and I'm just wondering if we can flesh it out a little.
Yeah. So much like germs, you could get too much and get sick of it. You don't want to have no boundaries because then you don't. You need to learn them. Yeah. And I think that the only reason any success I have in my life is because of the combination of knowing that I have to stop somewhere, but being liquid with other people's boundaries.
Huh. Right.
When you come over, in a similar way you said if Larry King acted a certain way, you would then have to mirror that. But at the same time, it is your interview and you're in control. And if you were to come over and I snap for you putting on a fake mustache and you're not into it, and I don't recognize your boundary, right? It's game over. But true. If I assume your boundary based on how I've been conditioned people's boundaries are, I wouldn't be able to push it that far. So by being comfortable in testing boundaries and playing with boundaries and experimenting with them, you run the risk of stepping over them at times.
Sure.
But you also learn how to not stay so tight into what you think comfortable is. Right. And part of this awareness that I've come into that I'm super grateful for is making people uncomfortable, making myself uncomfortable. It's an operational cost of doing what we do. But it's not about making people uncomfortable that is the problem, in my opinion. It's about recognizing it fast enough.
And deciding why you're doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, right. So you're talking about stand-up in terms of what we do. But I think
No, I mean that very interpersonally.
Okay. But also stand-up.
Yes.
Like I'm tracking what you're saying specifically to stand-up, because stand-up is something... Because I often try to figure out why exactly I chose that. my childhood, really what I was trying to overcome and what terrified me more than anything was being embarrassed. I didn't want to be embarrassed. And my mother used to embarrass me. I found my parents embarrassing. And I always felt embarrassed. And I was terrified of being embarrassed. So somehow, and neither one of them had boundaries. But it was different. It wasn't so much yelling as much as it was emotional indecisiveness. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of floaty. You know what I mean? No discipline, no real principles, not much guidance. Everybody was just sort of, it was amoebic, the family unit.
So you didn't know where you were at any given moment emotionally?
Self-wise.
Right.
Yeah. So, but there's something about the way you're talking about this immunity to figuring out, because if you have no boundaries or you grow up in a fairly boundaryless place, that means you probably get hurt often early on, right? Because of the sensitivity of that. And then all of a sudden you get reactive. So either you're going to be defensive or hostile or preemptively defensive, right? But conversely, it does enable you to absorb people in a different and more all-immersive way. And once you get the hang of that, you can sort of dictate the intimacy of the situation quicker than most people, and also have it be relatively inappropriate quicker than most people. And then you have to navigate that.
Yeah. So being
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Being inappropriate, making somebody uncomfortable, not being connected with somebody. There's only so much we control, and I really believe it's more than most people think. And
in terms of interpersonal relationships.
Yeah. And it really comes down.
You can do it until the other person gets tired of it. That could take years.
Well, yeah, I guess if they get tired of it, but people's feelings are heavily based on subconscious expectations, or maybe conscious, but at the least expectations.
Yeah.
Mitigating expectations is the key to understanding somebody's boundaries. Because a true boundary isn't about expectation. It's about where they feel safe and comfortable.
Right.
So sometimes they could be uncomfortable because an expectation is not being met.
Right.
I got a diagnosis 4 years ago that I had ASD level 1, which is it's commonly known as Asperger's syndrome.
Yeah.
And
which is a funny word.
Yeah.
Asperger's.
Animate a dick on an ass eating a burger.
Did you do that?
No.
Ah,
no.
Interesting.
But if this were my podcast.
You just thought of that now?
No, I've been sitting on it. And after that diagnosis, I've learned a lot about. I had to go to. I don't know how much time we have if it's worth getting into, but I went to a lot of special classes, special schools. Kicked
4
out
years ago.
In grade school and high school.
So before you knew you were Asperger's,
I was diagnosed with a whole bunch of different things
what?
as a kid. The ADD, the ADHD, the OCD, learning disability, which isn't a specific diagnosis.
How did that manifest itself? Because you must
Which
have been any of them. Like, well, what was the symptoms of why were you seen as a problem? What weren't you doing, or what were you doing?
Well, hyperactive, asking a lot of questions, asking questions to where teachers thought I was making fun.
Wow.
Not understanding.
So your earnestness was mistaken for sarcasm?
And I developed a sarcasm in a way to try and control how people see me.
Yeah.
If you're going to think that I'm not, let me at least try and make it funny. Let me find new ways of asking questions or trying to explain myself until things work. I never picked up on social cues. I didn't know that I wasn't picking up on them.
But Asperger's is different than autism, right?
So clinically, they've Asperger's is no longer a definition anymore. It's autism level 1.
Okay.
So ASD level 1, 2, and 3. So Asperger's is level 1.
What's level 2?
More challenges.
Are you hoping to get there? Or?
No.
Okay.
No. Can I try to untangle something?
Yeah.
What's the intention behind the joke of wanting to get there?
Oh, because it's like when you think of levels.
Oh, so like 2 is better than...
Right.
Gotcha. It wasn't like then you'll have like a bigger niche to explore.
No, that was where you went with your insecurity.
Yeah,
mine was a number joke. You went deeper.
That's why. It wasn't insecurity. I've talked about it on my podcast, maybe 5 of them. I do get insecure talking about it because of people's understanding or lack of what autism is, and I find myself either becoming a spokesperson for something that I can't be, or defending a diagnosis that has changed my life for the better because people think it is something that it's not necessarily.
I think like what's interesting to me is that you've learned how to utilize and understand